Welcome to Mom Bods and Margaritas, where two childhood friends navigate the wild and crazy world of midlife.
That's right. We're diving into the ups and downs of relationships, motherhood, health, sports, and everything in between.
Join us as we share our personal stories, laugh through the challenges, and explore how to thrive in this transformative phase of life. Whether you're feeling lost, empowered, or somewhere in between, we're here to remind you you're not alone.
So grab a coffee or a margarita, settle in, and let's embark on this journey together. It's time to embrace the chaos and celebrate the beauty of midlife. Let's get started.
Well, hey.
Hey.
How was your week?
Good. I'm very tired. I've been traveling a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
So got home pretty late last night. And I will say that I had an extremely tight turnaround in between flights.
Did you?
So that's, we're talking today about self-esteem and confidence and all of that. And I will say that's very humbling to be 50 and running through an airport with a heavy backpack on your back and fighting for your life, trying to breathe.
Layovers.
Yeah.
What did I do this weekend? There was
Hosted a shower.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My niece's bridal shower.
Yeah.
I was thinking there was no Alabama football game. Yeah, we had my niece's bridal shower Sunday, so that was fun. She's getting married in a few weeks, so we did that. Yeah. I texted her and my other niece and my sister Sunday morning. I was like, why am I getting teary-eyed? And they were all like, really? My sister was like, I'm not even upset about this. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe I've been watching home movies and planning it all, so it's getting me emotional. But
yeah.
Anyway, it was fun. So today, I took some notes. You know me, I'm a note taker. You always come in here, it's in your head, and I've got like pages of notes because I don't want to lose my train of thought. I thought it would be good for us to talk about insecurities, confidence level, and I feel like I could talk all day long about insecurities. It's my middle name. I'm the poster child for being insecure, something I've struggled with my entire life. So,
yeah,
this should be an easy podcast.
Yeah,
sad but easy.
Yeah, I think same, and I think a lot of people struggle with insecurities and lack of confidence. I
don't think they do.
Well,
like when I
sure.
think of myself, you know,
we've talked about this many times. Social media is good and it's bad.
Yeah.
And we see other people's highlight reels. Doesn't mean that they are doing any better than you. They're just displaying their best moments and their best pictures. They're not posting all the rough things necessarily that are going on in their lives.
I always feel like I'm the only one that's insecure in a situation, or I'm the only one that doesn't have confidence. And so I usually don't see through other people in that way because I'm more focused on being insecure about a situation.
Yeah, what's happening with you. I think overall, I'm a very confident person, but I have many, many insecurities, just like everyone else. People are sensitive about different things. I think it depends on the situation too. I know in previous roles, I would be sitting around the table and feeling like I'm not the smartest person in the room. And when I say not the smartest, I mean the dumbest. And, you know, not feeling accomplished or not feeling good enough to have an opinion on specific things. I don't think it stopped me from doing what I want to do. But I think everybody has insecurities. It just depends on what that level is and what it's about.
Well, it has stopped me. So I think that may be a little bit of a difference in you and I, is that's always been my issue, is I want to move forward with something if I'm really insecure about it. My insecurities have always been based off of two things: fear of failure,
yes,
and not being good enough.
So interesting that you say that.
Is that what you put?
Yes, fear of failure has the opposite effect on me.
Okay, so it pushes you.
It pushes me because my greatest fear in the world is failure.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than it holding me back, it pushes me, and I don't think it's always healthy.
It's not my biggest fear, failure. It's just I don't want to be a failure. And there's a difference in, I don't want to fail at this, or I don't want to fail at this project. I don't want to be a failure. And so that's the big umbrella for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know why it started at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of it was, I never thought I was the prettiest person in the room. And I always felt like I was built like a board, just straight as a board. I had no figure growing up. And when you're a late bloomer, that matters how you're built. At least it did for me. And so I would see everyone else with these cute little curvy figures, and I didn't have that. I never wore a bikini. Well, I won't say never. I rarely wore bikinis. And if I did, I had, the denim shorts that you would wear back in the 80s and the 90s, or I'd have a t-shirt on over my bathing suit if I got up to walk anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I could lay out at the pool with my friends in a bikini, but if I got up to go to the bathroom, I put on a shirt. I never walked around in a bikini because I didn't like how I was built. Now, I would die to be that size now.
Yeah.
And I've seen some old home movies of myself, and I was like, damn, I actually look not bad at all. But I never thought it at the time.
And that's what I was going to say is I can't believe you thought that about yourself.
Always. Even into adulthood, I would wear a t-shirt at the beach. I hated to get up to go get in the water because I just did not want to walk in front of everybody. So that was some of it growing up. I just never thought, I didn't think I was a dog walking around, but I just never thought of myself as being the most attractive person in the room, which it sounds bad because that's not what I was trying to be. It was just my insecurity to where I was comparing myself to other people, maybe what they were wearing or how their hair looked or their makeup looked. Like to this day, I still can't put on makeup properly. I don't know how to put on makeup. And little things like that would always bother me growing up. So I felt a little bit not pushed off to the side, but just out of sorts. Like I didn't quite fit in that area.
And I think you're beautiful, and I think you always have been. So that's news to me. I think anybody would be lucky to look like you then or now. So,
well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think it's funny what people are insecure about because I've always thought of you as very attractive. I don't know if I remember telling you this or not. I don't know. But no, when we had our high school reunion and my cousin who didn't know you at all, and she was taking pictures and she said something about
the 30-year reunion.
Something about, the girl in green and she was so pretty and whatever. And I won't finish the rest, but basically, she specifically mentioned you. And so that's how I see you. So it's funny how we let those voices inside dictate how we feel about ourselves. Right. And I'm guilty of it too, just in different ways.
My grandmother used to always ask me, why are you so insecure? Why do you not have self-confidence? I can remember that as far back as I can remember. Her always asking me that. I think I've talked about that a little before, not on the podcast, but I've just shared that with people before. She clearly saw something in me, in how I was acting or how I maybe carried myself. She picked up on me being insecure about something. And I don't know if it was me talking to her, maybe me telling her, I don't want to do this. I don't know what it was. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, she always picked up on it. And she would always ask me that. And I don't really remember being able to give her an answer. I was just like, I don't know. I just am.
Grandmothers know. Yeah. I mean, mine always knows when something's wrong with me, for sure. The not being good enough that has been a constant theme in my life. I think because, let's say I was at a specific level at work, and a lot of my insecurities, I think, have come from work, but there's also a lot more.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I'm there now, but definitely in the past, I was like, well, I don't have the same education. I don't have the same pedigree. I don't have, I didn't grow up learning all of these things. Right. And so everything that I've learned, I've kind of had to be self-taught and teach myself. And so that's not good. I think sometimes the way that you would go about something, and I'm talking specifically about me, the way that I would go about something might not be the right way. But it's what I have observed and learned and taught myself what to do. But I think in past relationships, not feeling good enough, comparing myself, feeling like if I've got dark hair, oh, why don't I have blonde hair? Or if I'm short, which I am, why am I not tall? If I'm very fair skinned, why am I not dark skinned? Anything, if my hair's straight, why is it not curly? If it's curly, why is it not straight? I think we all want something else. And some of those are just lies that we tell ourselves, and some of them have been imposed on people.
I've always thought of you as being confident and not afraid to try things. For example, you've talked on here before that you were very active. You were into different types of sports, softball, gymnastics. And you've even said, although I was mid-grade, that didn't stop you from doing what you wanted to do or being a part of all of that. And for me, we've talked a little bit about the softball before, so I'm not going to go back there. But I did gymnastics for a very, very short time, I think when I was in elementary school. And my mom says the story of why I quit was because my practices were on Saturdays. And I did not want to miss my brother's games because he had a lot to do on Saturdays with either football or baseball or whatever. Because I've always loved going to my brother's sporting events and even my dad's stuff. So apparently I quit gymnastics to watch his sporting activities. Now, I will say I was always scared of the vault. I was scared of the uneven bars. I was scared of all of it. So some of it may have just been me being scared and not wanting to continue. But I really do think some of me not trying more things when I was younger was not only was I shy and insecure, but I had two siblings who were very good at that sort of thing. My sister cheered in middle school. She made the high school team, I believe, her freshman year, and she ended up quitting, but she was a cheerleader. My brother, did football, basketball, baseball, played in college, was drafted out of high school, and so was my dad and my granddad. So anything active that I wanted to do, I felt like I was not going to be good at it.
You felt like you were competing.
Disappointing. Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass or disappoint my my family. I think that was probably some of it, and I knew I was never going to be as good as my brother or my sister. So why do it?
Oh, the embarrassment of my gymnastics career. See, this is just good stuff for me at this point. Like right now, my failures I can laugh about, but I was not good. And when I say not good, it was mortifying. But I did it because I wanted to. Yeah. And I thought, I can do this. Yeah. Like, that's overconfident and idiotic. Well, but I was like, So my freshman year of high school, I tried out for the dance team and I didn't make it my first year.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah. So I tried out for cheerleader, which I had tried out for 4 years. So shout out to whoever did not choose me. I know 1 year I should have made it. Anyway, I didn't make it, but I kept trying out and I didn't make it. And so then I tried out for dance team my freshman year and I didn't make it. So I thought, I'm going to go be on the gymnastics team. I thought about doing tennis. I signed up for tennis and then I went to one practice and I was like, this is lame. Probably because I was really bad at it. That's why I thought it was lame. But, I was on the gymnastics team my freshman year in high school. And
is that the only year you were on the team?
Oh, yeah. Because, you know.
So you made the dance team the next year?
Yes.
I guess your sophomore year. Okay.
Yes.
And then did that the rest of our high school. Okay.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So I will try things, but I have always had to really push myself because I think sometimes I'm like, oh, this ain't going to work out. I'm not going to do it. But it takes a lot because I will eat humble pie. I'm that person that will get out there and try it anyway, just to say that I've tried it. And, you know, throughout my life, my Halloween shenanigans and all that, like, I'm not worried about embarrassing myself. I'm kind of an acquired taste, and if you don't like it, that's too bad. Like, I've overcome a lot of that.
That's good, though.
It is.
I wish I was more like that.
But I still think insecurities drive me in a lot of things. Like, especially, I would say, with men and making decisions that way. If I'm not someone's cup of tea, not taking that personally.
Right.
And just moving on. And not being upset about it.
It wasn't that I always wanted to be the best at everything, which maybe that was a goal I should have had. But I tend to be an all or none kind of person. So I feel like if I can't do something 100% the way that it needs to be done, and I do remember being called a perfectionist a lot when I was younger.
Oh, yes.
I would strive for perfection because that's what I wanted. And while that can be a good thing, if I don't feel like I can get perfection out of something or be the best that I can be at it, I don't want to do it.
And I'm that way in a lot of categories. It's weird that a lot of things that you're saying are the exact ways that I feel. There's just certain areas that either I don't care or I'm much more confident in my abilities there. And when I say abilities, doesn't even mean that I'm good at it. It's just I'm going to do it. But then there's a lot of things that if it's not perfect, I'm not going to do it.
Well, you saying that reminded me of something I had written down, and it goes along with the confidence too, because like I said, I think you've always had that. I was trying to think of something that I am confident in myself on, because I could sit here all day long and talk about insecurities, but I wanted to try to balance it out and say, yes, I'm insecure in these areas, but here's what I'm confident about. And Mandy, I could not think of one thing.
Oh my gosh.
I really can't think of anything that I'm confident in myself in. So I looked up something, and this is what I found, and I thought it was interesting. It said, I don't even know the website that I found this on, but I thought this was neat. So confidence is based on our ability or perceived ability to do something. Conviction is based on our belief that we should do something. So I feel like I would put myself in the category of conviction over confidence, because I really don't think I'm confident in anything. There's a lot of things that I feel like I need to be doing, and there's a lot of things that I want to do, but the insecurity comes back in to where I don't move forward with that. So that's why I feel like I can relate to this better. And the more I read about it, it actually made me think of my husband, because later on in the article, it said conviction is a robust quality for leaders because it allows us to stand up for what we believe in or the right thing, even when it's unpopular or uneasy. And I think you're a leader at work too, and so you can probably relate to this. But I really thought about my husband because he's the CEO of a company, so he is constantly having to make decisions that he feels like is best for everyone in that company, every customer out there, our family. It's a lot of things to have to think about. It's a lot of people to think about. And so it's a lot on his shoulders. And, you know, I get very protective over my family and my friends. And so if I know his heart, and I know that when he makes a decision about that company, it weighs heavy on his heart.
Yes.
Because he will stand by his convictions, and he's always going to do what he thinks is best for everyone as a whole.
Yes.
And, you know, even if that's us having to make sacrifices sometimes. So I can appreciate him more for that. And I think you probably fall in that category too. I think that being a leader at work and having a team that looks up to you and looks to you for guidance sometimes, I'm sure there are decisions out there that you have to make that aren't the easiest.
Yes, for sure.
And it goes against the grain and it's unpopular and people don't understand why you're making the decisions that you make.
Yes, and I think that has happened quite a bit in my career. And I think my perfectionism comes in a lot with work, is I want things to be perfect. And when you lead people, it can't be.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. And you have to make some very tough decisions that are for the greater good. Mm-hmm. But I will say I'm very, very hard on myself, and I try to be very disciplined outside of work. But work is always top of mind.
Right.
And perfectionism, I think, has blown over sometimes into procrastination, because I will never forget, somebody told me one time, sometimes you have to say pencils down. And for me, pencils are never down. Mm-hmm. I'm consistently refining and trying to do things. And whether that's my personal life or my professional life, I'm always trying to grow. And sometimes I'm like, you're such a slacker. Do this. Yeah. You should have this by now, or you should be doing this by now. And I'm really hard on myself. I'm my own worst critic.
Same.
So I think it's easier for me to give others grace. It is not easy for me to give myself grace. And I think we've got to do a better job as people, but as women, and we've talked about this, we're carrying a lot of load.
Yeah.
Mothers, a lot of people working full-time jobs, trying to be a leader, trying to do things at church or at school mm-hmm. or at civic organizations and communities, and trying to spin all the plates.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
I tend to find, I don't know how to word this, but I don't have a lot of confidence in myself, but I have confidence in other people. So when Jeffrey started this company, I did not want him to start the company. I'm not a risk taker. I know I've talked to you about this before. Yes. It made me very uneasy. Obviously, so far it's worked out well, and he has a very successful company. But I don't ever really doubt that he doesn't know how to run this company. Mm-hmm. I have full confidence in him. When it's time for him to make some hard decisions, I know that he's going to make the right decision. Mm-hmm. I never doubt that. It makes me nervous because there's other things that affect the outcome that's sometimes out of our control.
The unknown.
But I have confidence in him to always make the right decision, or the decision that he really thinks is best for everyone mm-hmm. when it comes to work. So I don't worry in that way. And then I always had confidence in my parents. I've said before that they are probably the only two people that really, really would 100% have my back no matter what mm-hmm. happens in life. And we've talked about this before, so I sound like a broken record, but I always had confidence. When my dad was around, I always was confident that we were going to be protected, I was going to be safe, and that I was going to be provided for. Nothing was going to happen when my dad was around. That's mm-hmm. just how I thought about it. Mm-hmm. Nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
If we were driving through a bad area, if there was a storm at night, I never worried that anything was going to happen to me when my dad was around. Mm-hmm. And my mom was always going to figure out how to make things work. Mm-hmm. She could juggle a schedule like nobody's business. She worked. She had 3 kids. We constantly had things going on. She was going to figure out how we were going to eat, how our clothes were going to get cleaned, how we were going to get to and from. It wasn't always easy. Mm-hmm. And she may have been doing laundry all day long on Sundays. But come Monday morning, our clothes were going to be clean. So even little things like that, I never had to worry about those things. I was always confident in their decision making.
Well, you felt safe and you had security in your home. And I will say, I hope that my children feel that way about me is that mom is always going to figure it out. I think I'm very protective of my friends and my children, my family. And so, same sort of thing. I hope that my children are sitting there saying that about me one day. That, that's the highest compliment is that I felt safe, I felt secure, I felt loved. Things were taken care of, right? And so I think that is the highest compliment you can pay someone.
Something else I thought about, I don't know if you watch Dancing with the Stars.
I don't. I want to. I want to be a what is it, DWTS fan, but...
Well, I am a huge Dancing with the Stars fan. I watch it every season. Excuse me. There was a couple of seasons here recently where I didn't watch, but I've kind of gotten back on watching it again. And so it premiered a couple of weeks ago. And this season, there was a female on there, Anna Sorokin or Delvey or whatever. She was some con artist or whatever. I had never heard of her.
Yes.
So she was on this season. And I say was because she got voted off last night or 2 nights ago. And she really did not connect with the audience. I don't know if it was because of what she did and people just, it was too soon. So no one really cared for her. But she did seem to have a bit of a standoffish personality. At any rate, they had a double elimination. So she got voted off the first week. And they asked her at the end of the episode, I don't know if you've seen anything about it on social media, like they ask everyone that gets voted off. Basically, they said, so what did you take away from this, your experience here? She said, nothing. That was the only thing she said. She said nothing. Everyone else usually says, meeting all of you people, my partner, got out of my comfort zone, whatever. She said nothing. And it kind of stunned everyone. So I thought about it today. And here's my thoughts on it. She was honest. Okay? She was real. She was authentic because leading up to that night, she would get on social media and read all the hateful comments that people were saying about her, whether it had to do with her dancing, her past. Supposedly, she went and cried in the bathroom at some point during practice or whenever. So it clearly got to her.
Sure.
She's human. She has feelings. So her experience from all of this was, yes, she maybe made a friend and her dance partner, and she got to do something that was probably out of her comfort zone, and she was being vulnerable by going on the show, being out of prison for only 2 years. So I can give her credit for that, okay? She's reading all of these hateful comments, so in her mind, she's not taking anything positive away from this experience. She was hated on social media. And I have mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I don't condone anything that she did. But guess what? She did her time and she paid her dues. Okay? So when do we start giving people second chances? And I'm not trying to get off on a different avenue here, but when it comes to insecurities and feeling confident about yourself, I would be willing to bet big money she was not confident in herself in coming on that TV show for all of America to see her, to put herself out there fresh out of the slammer, as Taylor Swift would say in her new album, fresh out the slammer, okay?
Yeah.
So part of me really respects her for putting herself out there.
Sure.
And dealing with the hateful comments, because that's what trolls do when they get online.
Well,
they say things in writing they wouldn't say to your face.
Well, sure. And couple things. I've not watched the show, but I have watched her show.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. She was very talented at what she did. But 2 things. Just from what you just said, number 1, that is a defense mechanism. You can't tell me she didn't take anything away from it. The negative might have overplayed the good, but I'm sure that she will look back on that and think, wow, that was a very uncomfortable time, but I met whoever, my dance partner or these people, or, hey, I got to be on TV and I got exposure, which is what she always wanted, was to be famous. But also, I will say, and I always try to tell myself this is easier said than done, but, I'm a Christian, And I think about Jesus was a perfect man. If you are a Christian, you believe Jesus was the perfect man. He was the Son of God, right?
Right.
People hated him so much they killed him.
Right.
So hate in human hearts is always going to come out. And to your point, when it is a troll situation and a keyboard warrior and somebody sitting behind a computer that nobody can get to,
right.
You are free to say whatever and criticize and be negative all you want. And that does not change her character, but it will change the way that she steps out into the world moving forward. And that's a shame.
I didn't feel sorry for her in the moment because I thought, really, girl, like you don't have anything positive to say right now? Because any contestant that's on that show always praises about it. It's always been a really good experience for everyone.
Sure.
So it was kind of a bummer that her response was what it was, and she at least could have given some credit to her partner.
Sure.
Who has spent all this time. And, they've talked to him afterwards, and he has said that, after the show was over, she was apologizing to him for getting voted off. And so clearly there's some kind of a connection. And I think just in the moment, the question probably caught her off guard a little bit, and she just said nothing,
And she was probably angry and
maybe
just felt, again, it was a defense mechanism. She felt embarrassed that she was voted off and maybe thought that she was going to do better or go further on the show. But at the end of the day, we've got to absorb, not just the negative. We've got to absorb the positive too. And
well, we've talked on here before. I think we've mentioned a lot about social media posts. We can't have it both ways. We say that we want to see the real people, and then when they make real posts, we're like, okay, that's weird, or why are you doing that? And we judge people. When we say we want the authenticity and the real you, when we really don't. We really don't always want that. And that's what made me think about this, was she was being real and authentic in that moment, as pissy as it was.
Yeah.
So that's why I say in some ways I can respect her for being authentic and real.
Yeah.
But I'm also a big believer in, you can be as real as you want and you can be as genuine as you want, but there are repercussions and there are consequences. Right. So if you act like a little bitty about it, then you're going to get some kind of response. And some of it's justified. But that's how it goes. You can't say and act the way that you want and expect to not have consequences. Yeah. So I'm kind of getting off topic here, but I think my point to all of that was her having enough gumption, whatever it was in her, to be able to go on national TV after she's had a documentary show made about her. She's gone to jail for grand larceny and whatever else she did. And then here she is trying to get votes from the American people on a dance show. Yeah. Who would do that? Not me.
Yeah.
Not me.
Well, I give her props for having the cojones to do it. I know I overthink. I know I'm playing through things in my head at night. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Did I say
that too?
And I do that consistently because this mouth, we all know. Anybody that knows any of our 11 subscribers. But I think you have to decide up front whose opinion you really care about. And you have to know that those people that really love you and care about your well-being will tell you the truth.
Right.
They will be honest and transparent with you. They will hold you accountable, but they will do it in love. And they're doing it because they love you and they want to do it for your best interest.
Right.
Not to tear you down, not to make you feel insecure, not to kill your self-esteem. And I think you just have to worry about whose opinion you're going to take and whose you're not. And I know there's plenty of people in my life I'm not going to put up with it.
Well, don't you think it's funny, though, as we get older, some of the things that we become less insecure about, like when I was younger, I would have never stepped out of my house to go anywhere without makeup on and my hair fixed. And now I'll walk into a store, not even have showered,
Oh,
no
yeah.
makeup, hair not fixed, and looking like I rolled up out of the bed. I'm not insecure about that anymore because I don't care. I couldn't care less.
I don't think I've ever been insecure about that. I don't care.
That was a big deal for me. I was not going to leave the house looking like I rolled up out of the bed. My family always makes fun of me. One more thing they make fun of me about is I would go outside to play, but before I went outside to play, I would have to fix my hair or, put on makeup or whatever when the neighbors came over. I don't remember doing it as much, but that's what my parents say, that I always did.
Yeah, I mean, and that's your DNA, and that's you, and that's what makes you you. I mean, there have been times I like to look nice. Don't get me wrong. I think I told you today that I was going to come over here looking homeless. I don't know.
No, you didn't tell me that.
Okay,
but
well,
you don't look homeless.
Well, maybe that's what I told my friend when I took her to lunch today, is that I'm rolling up homeless. There's just days that it just cannot matter to me because my mental headspace, I only have so much bandwidth, and part of it is not like making sure my hair is curled.
Well, I tend to speak before I think. And
same.
Sometimes I feel like maybe I come across as being too direct and maybe rude. And I'll leave a gathering and I go back home. I can't tell you how many times I have texted a friend later on in the night or the next day saying, I just wanted to text you and say, if I came across as being rude or ugly, I did not mean it that way. Or I shouldn't have said that. I meant it like this. When I get home, I start thinking about things that I have said to people. Mm-hmm. And usually they're always like, what are you talking about?
I didn't take it that way.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But I always overthink things that I say to people.
Yeah. Same. I mean, we all know, anybody who knows me knows I'm very direct. I have no filter. I have a lot more filter than I used to. I say what I think. I'm very opinionated. I'll stand on it. Go down swinging. Mm-hmm. That's just who I am.
So how do we get past the insecurities? How do we try to tell others, especially younger girls, if I were to tell myself, look back at my 10-year-old self or 15-year-old self or 20-year-old self, I just, it's so hard. I don't know how you get past the insecurity without literally not giving two F's about what people think. To put it bluntly, you've got to just almost like be in your own lane. You do you, and you be comfortable in who you are. It sounds so crazy for me to say because I don't believe that about myself. So it's really hard for me to say, this is what you need to do, girls, to not be insecure. Don't care about what people think and you just do you and be you. But it's very hard to do that, even as an adult. I'm much better at it now, but I still have my moments.
I would say the very same thing that you're saying is comparison is a thief of joy. And you have to like you. And when all else fails, and everything crumbles to the ground, and it may or may not in your life. Everybody's life circumstances are different. But when everything crumbles to the ground, the only person there staring you in the face in the mirror is you. And you have to come to grips with who you are. You have to be very confident in your ability to weather the storm because you are the only one dealing with the consequences of your decisions. A lot of times, yes, there are circumstances that you can be a mom and you can make bad choices and it affects your kids. But I'm talking about every day in and out. Mm-hmm. You are responsible for your thoughts. I struggle with taking my thoughts captive and saying, is this true about me? Mm-hmm. Am I really the dumbest person in the room? No. Does there have to be a winner? Does there have to be a dumbest person in the room? No.
Right.
Do I have a different set of skill set, attributes or whatever from other people? Yes. So I have to worry about myself, like you said, and I have to like me. And I can't like me if I'm consistently comparing myself. And that goes back to what I said earlier. If I'm short, I want to be tall. There's tall people that want to be short. There's brunettes that want to be blonde and blondes that want to be brunette. You have to be happy with you. And there's always somebody better. You can be the fastest runner in Alabama, but then you meet somebody from Tennessee. So there's always something out there for you to not be the best at or not be number one.
Would you agree that it's important to, I don't know if embrace is the right word, but accept your imperfections? Because we all have them. And I think if you get too wrapped up in what's imperfect about yourself versus what's good and the positive,
yes,
it overtakes. I feel like there's got to be so much more that we can find in ourselves that are positive and meaningful.
Yes.
As hard as it may be to admit, maybe we should just start asking other people that we can trust to be honest with us. Like, what do you think my good qualities are? What do you think I'm good at? And go from there.
Yes.
What do you think? I don't know. But I feel like we just tend to focus on the imperfections that we don't like about ourselves, whether it's physical or emotional.
For sure. And I think two things there. Yes, you should focus on the things that you're good at. And you should not compare yourself to other people. Focus on your own strengths. But then I would also say, don't be complacent. There is a difference between being complacent and being content. And you should be content with who you are, but you should never be complacent. And I know there are a lot of people that don't have the same personality, same drive or ambition that I have. But if I find something that is an imperfection about myself, which I have many, I think, can I work on that? And if it's something like, I can't read fast enough. I don't know. I'm trying to make up something, but what can I do? Can I take a class? Can I look online? Can I watch YouTube videos? What is something that I can do for self-improvement? And I'm constantly trying to improve myself. I take classes at work. I just think that there are things that you can control and that you should never be complacent and just settle and be like, oh, well, this is who I am. You should be happy with yourself, but that shouldn't keep you on the sidelines.
But it's the things like, my hair is too thin.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do about that. It's those things that are more out of your control.
Like physical attributes.
Yes, that will drive you crazy if you harbor too much. One thing for me was I would always get compliments when I was in school on my hair and my nails.
Yeah.
My fingernails and my hair.
Yeah.
Okay? But nothing else. So I was insecure about my body. I was insecure about even my eyes because I didn't have long eyelashes. I have shorter eyelashes. And I would envy anyone whose eyelashes would curl or they didn't have to wear mascara. So things like that. My teeth. Even now, I've got one tooth that's just a little bit crooked on the side. And it drives me crazy.
Well, me too.
So why do we harbor on that? It just makes the insecurity grow.
Well, I think you have to pick your battles and talk to yourself the way that you would talk to your child. Would you be okay with someone saying your hair's thin to your child? Mm-hmm. Would you be okay with someone saying to your daughter, you'd be really pretty if you had longer eyelashes? You would never tolerate that. And you would never say that to someone else. So don't say it to yourself. And those are things that you can't change. You can't change your height, right?
Or if you met someone with short eyelashes or thin hair, it's not like I'm sitting there all night thinking, oh, she has short eyelashes and thin hair. Who cares? I don't care about anybody else.
Yeah, she's a 2, but she would be a 10 if her eyelashes were just a little bit naturally longer.
So I make bigger deals about myself.
Of course.
When I wouldn't make those.
We all do, but you've got to learn to give yourself grace and I'm talking to myself too, you've got to give yourself grace. I have a tooth that is, got jacked up from a dental visit that I will never forgive him. I won't say his name on here.
We'll call him Rod.
But yeah, I had braces when I was growing up, had everything you could imagine, had teeth pulled, had the whole 9 yards.
Headgear.
My head, are you staring at my headgear? My teeth are not horrible, but they are definitely out of alignment. And it's right in the front, of course. And it is something that I worry about. But at the end of the day, does that change who I am as a person? No. I consistently look at myself and want to be perfect. Is that ever going to happen? No. And people that love me for me, and they don't go, I don't like Mandy. That one tooth, it's a little crooked. I don't like it. And if you do feel that way about me, then you pound sand. Bye-bye. Yeah, kick rocks. Love you, mean it. So there's just so much that we're so hard on ourselves, and we've got to do a better job of that.
I agree.
It's just not okay. Because if I heard someone say that to you, any of the things that you just said about yourself, I would kick their ass.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it affects, it will affect me differently than someone else. If I feel a certain way about myself, the person I'm sitting across from could have those exact same features, and I would feel differently about it. Or if I heard someone say something to you about the exact same features that I have issues with about myself, I would jump their case for saying.
Yeah.
So we tend to be so hard on ourselves, and I know that's everyone. And it's something that we all have to work on. But it is what it is.
Well, and it ties together all of our podcasts that we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
It is important to surround yourself with female friendships.
Right.
Hold each other accountable, love each other, and be each other's cheerleader.
Right.
It also, women's health. If there are things that you can do, maybe I'll go get Invisalign. I don't know. But there are things that you can do to take care of yourself and fix some of those insecurities. But at the same time, there are things that you can't change about yourself. And you have to be okay with that. And like I said, comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. And you're not happy about what you have. You're always looking at what someone else has.
And maybe we just need to focus on things that we are confident in ourselves. I can make a pretty dang good chicken spaghetti.
Yeah.
So why am I not making chicken spaghetti every week? My husband raves about it all the time. So, things like that. Do what you're good at doing and just embrace it.
Yeah. Well, you're a fantastic hostess. You are a great cook. You're a good mother. You're gorgeous. I mean, what is there to be insecure about? And like I said, if anybody has anything to say.
I don't know, Mama. You sound like my grandmother right
now. Well, maybe I'm channeling Mama. But, I'm a good friend. I'm loyal. I'm kind of funny.
You're very funny.
So,
You're very funny. You're entertaining. You're very outgoing.
I have to appreciate
those
things.
And I've always thought you were very attractive, and other people do too. I think that's something about you. If people had to make a list, it would be that you're pretty, you're fun, you're a little cray-cray.
Right on.
Which is a good thing in your book. I think you're like, yeah, I'm cray-cray.
Right on.
You embrace that.
Yes.
I've told you many, many times that you're one of the hardest workers I've ever known. You and my husband are really hard workers, and my parents, but you know what I'm saying, for my friends. You're a very hard worker, very loyal.
Yes.
I would say very loyal.
To a fault.
Maybe. But yeah.
See, we've gotta hype each other up.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a great conversation. I think it's one that a lot of people can identify with, and they just need to start looking inward at their own good qualities. And
at the end of the day, I feel like I get on here and just ramble sometimes. and I can't put my thoughts together and make a complete sentence, and my mind's going on. I'm like, oh, I got to think about this. I can't forget to say that. And so I really hope that if you are one of our 11 people listening, that in the midst of all my ramblings, I don't want that to be an insecurity of mine to where we quit doing this, because you and I really are having fun doing it. And at the end of the day, if our conversations just positively affect others,
yes,
and maybe get other women who are listening thinking,
yeah,
and maybe being able to relate and feeling like they're not alone,
yes,
I think all of this is worth it.
Of course.
And I'll try to get my ramblings under control, but if at the end of the day, if what we're saying matters to someone,
yes. And I don't...
That's the cherry on top. We're having fun, but it's the cherry on top if it affects even just one of you 11
and
people.
I think ramblings are a podcast. If you're going to sit there and read directly from a list, you and I are not going to have any fun.
I got to get an outline going, though. I got to stay a little bit more organized.
I know, and that's just you. That's your personality. But I'm just saying, like, I love your ramblings. That's what makes it a conversation, and that's why we're able to record a podcast. So, everyone, you are welcome. This is literally how we talk to each other all the time. So I think it's good.
Well, we've got 4 more episodes.
That's right.
Then we'll see how it goes after that.
I'm excited. Season 2, we're coming for you, Joe Rogan.
All right, everyone, have a good week.
All right, bye.